Remember those grand spectacles, the Olympics? Cities used to trip over themselves to host. The promise? Global recognition, tourism boosts, shiny new infrastructure. Now, not so much. The line of eager hosts has dwindled. In fact, it looks more like a sparsely attended bus stop. What happened? Did someone finally peek behind the curtain? Turns out those Olympic rings can hide a whole lot of problems. And more cities are realizing maybe it's not worth the hassle. Cities are wising up. They see the financial strain, the social upheaval, the environmental damage. The Olympics, once a coveted prize, are looking more and more like a poisoned chalice. So buckle up, because we're diving deep into why nobody wants to host the Olympics anymore, and trust me, it's not just about the athlete's foot. Let's talk money, or more accurately, a staggering lack of it. Hosting the Olympics is like throwing the world's most expensive party, and then finding out you're stuck with the bill. The price tag for these games? It's astronomical. We're talking billions with a B. Security alone costs a fortune. And then there's building those fancy stadiums and athlete villages. Spoiler alert, they don't come cheap. Remember the 2004 Athens Olympics? Greece is still reeling from that financial hangover. The infrastructure built, largely abandoned. A concrete monument to Olympic overspending, and it's not just Greece. Montreal took decades to pay off its 1976 Olympic debt. Even the successful games leave a trail of red ink. So when cities see those Olympic rings, they're also seeing dollar sign. Lots and lots of dollar signs draining away. The Olympics aren't just about money, they impact real people, and often it's the locals who pay the price. Think about it. Thousands of athletes, officials, and tourists need a place to stay, right? Enter displacement. Entire neighborhoods get razed to make way for Olympic venues. Businesses shut down. Residents are forced out, their lives disrupted for a 2-week event. Then there's gentrification. Those shiny new apartments built for the games, they're not for the people who lived there before. Rents skyrocket, pushing out long-time residents. The 2016 Rio Olympics? A prime example. Thousands of families were displaced, their homes demolished. The promised economic benefits? They largely bypassed the poorest communities. The human cost of the games is often overlooked, but for those who lose their homes, their livelihoods, their communities, the impact is devastating. Section 4. An environmental hangover, the concrete jungle legacy. Let's talk about the environment, shall we? Because the Olympics aren't exactly known for their eco-friendliness. In fact, they're more like a giant, carbon-spewing monster. Think of all those construction projects, the materials, the waste. Then there's the energy consumption of those massive stadiums, the air pollution from increased traffic. And let's not forget the strain on local resources like water and food. But the real kicker? The legacy of unused infrastructure. Remember those purpose-built stadiums and venues? Once the party's over, they often sit empty, decaying reminders of the game's environmental toll. The 2008 Beijing Olympics are a prime example. The city experienced severe air pollution, and some venues are now ghost towns. The environmental hangover can last for decades. So, while the world cheers on their favorite athletes, it's hard to ignore the environmental elephant in the room. Or, in this case, the environmental smog cloud hovering over the Olympic Stadium. Section 5. A bleak future, the games nobody wants. So, cities are wising up, right? They're seeing the financial risks, the social disruption, the environmental damage. The Olympics, once a golden ticket, are looking more and more like a lead balloon. And guess what? That's making it really hard to find hosts. Fewer cities are bidding. The ones that do are often desperate for any kind of global attention. Not exactly the Olympic spirit, is it? The International Olympic Committee is scrambling. They're trying to make the games cheaper, more sustainable, but the damage is done. The reputation is tarnished. The future of the Olympics? It's uncertain, to say the least. Will cities continue to shoulder the burden? Or will the games eventually become a relic of the past, another victim of their own excesses? Section 6. The Olympic spirit lost in translation, a final word. Look, the Olympics are supposed to be about unity, about athletic achievement, about inspiring the world. But somewhere along the way, it all went a bit sideways. The games became about money, about politics, about construction projects bigger than human needs, and the people who end up paying the price, the residents, the environment, the very spirit of the games itself. So the next time you watch the Olympics, remember what's happening behind the scenes. Remember the displaced families, the mountains of debt, the environmental damage. Because until the Olympics can find a way to prioritize people and the planet over profit and spectacle, those 5 rings will continue to symbolize something else entirely, a cautionary tale of ambition gone wrong.